Welcome to the O Show, your number one podcast for everything training, mindset, and nutrition. I am your host, Oren McCarry, and it is my goal to help you access the best information around to allow you to kick ass in the gym, in the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. Between my own experiences and those of my amazing guests, I'm confident we will do that. So let's strap in and level up your life starting right now. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to today's episode of the O Show. I am your host, Oren McCarry, and today I have on Mr. Propa Joe Davis. How are we, buddy?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me on, mate.
Mate, we've talked about this for a while, and basically with the podcast, I want to do maybe every fourth to sixth episode, just bring on a local trainer from Perth, showcase what the best guys are, because let's face it, there's an abundance of people who need help in Perth. We're not all competition, and by having people on, it just exposes people who might like your personality or your way of going about things more and gets them help if I can just showcase it. And we've been talking about it because I find your content on Instagram to be very engaging, very entertaining, and it's funny stuff. Like it's stuff put about in a way that just makes people laugh, but it kind of hammers the point home at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been looking forward to this one for a while, mate. So welcome. Eventually, we've got you on. Let's talk a little bit about yourself, mate, because we were just talking there, and obviously you just moved to Perth 18 months ago, and you built a pretty solid business working at Revo. So let's talk about you and your journey as a coach and what led you to Perth now.
Yeah. So like I said, I've been here 18 months, and things are going. I think it's around 18 months, maybe even 2 years in July. And it's been going really well here. I'm actually really, I feel really at home. I think the Perth fitness scene is a really great supportive place. And I've said this to my partner many times, it's actually quite impressive as to how supportive everyone is here. Because, every place has their cliques and, all the fitness people tend to follow each other on Instagram, the trainers and stuff. But even just through people sharing content and stuff like that, which obviously helps when you're a new guy in town. I knew no one, had no connections really. My partner grew up here, so we had a few sort of family connections, but I've just been really blown away by how awesome they are as a community here. And obviously, down at Revo, it's been awesome growing with them. They're expanding rapidly onto their, I think, 11th or 12th gym now. So when I got here, I think they're on number 6. So just riding the wave with them. They're growing in popularity. Everything's been going really well. But I started off in Melbourne as a remedial massage therapist. Came out from England, as you can probably tell from the accent. Only working in hospitality, but then studied remedial massage in Melbourne. And then went on from treating people in the treatment room, sort of realizing that even though it was where I wanted to go, I'd always wanted to be in health and fitness, and I'd really wanted to go into nutrition because my backstory, my mum passed away when I was 8 years old of cancer. So I'd always had this interest in how can I look after, myself and the people around me through more natural preventatives, I guess, in terms of exercise, looking after your nutrition and things like that. So not from 8, but throughout my teenage years, I had this obsession with just sort of being fitter, being a bit better, looking after myself a bit better. Traveled around Australia, ended up in Melbourne, studied remedial massage. But like I said, I was in the treatment room with people, but I didn't feel like I was fully helping them. And so I always had this dream of being a kind of one-stop shop where I could help someone with their injuries, their posture and things like that. Also help them with their training and their fitness and weight loss and things like that. And obviously now I'm studying nutrition as well. So it's kind of now I've got the remedial massage element, the personal training element, and I'm going to be a certified nutritionist at the end of this year. So that's kind of been my journey from setting up in Melbourne as a remedial massage therapist, realizing that although I am helping people, I'm not fixing the whole problem here. I'm just sort of releasing stuff, and they're coming back 6 weeks later kind of with the same injury. So I was like, well, how can I help in terms of long-term sort of maintenance, I guess? So I started studying personal training and then taking people from the massage table into the gym and sort of doing treatment and training combos with people. So I'd needle them for half an hour, get in the gym, do some corrective exercise, work on their squat patterns and things like that if I was, sorting out lower back pain. And that went really well. And then I got to the point where I didn't even need the massage anymore. I was just in the gym with people. I just sort of do a bit of foam rolling and release work and then get straight into the session. I found that exercise was actually more effective at treating pain and injury than massage, if that makes sense. Because once you get someone moving right, everything sort of sorts itself out. And if the programs are balanced and structured well, all the injuries kind of iron themselves out along the way if you're doing a few corrective exercises and things like that, like throughout the big compound movements. So then I got to this point where I was like, I don't really need the massage anymore. So I sort of shut that down when I got to Perth. I don't do it here because I feel like I can kind of just do everything on the gym floor now with a bit of like foam rolling, a bit of mobility work with balls and stuff, and then get them straight into the training aspect of the treatment. So I still get sort of injured clients coming to me, but it's more of a training side or training approach to treatment now. Nice. And then studying the nutrition so I can help people a bit better in depth of like nutrition for, you know, actual problems like type 2 diabetes and things like that, rather than just weight loss.
Yeah, nice, man, nice. And
sorry, that was a big ramble, but
that's my whole
perfect.
That's what people need to know, right? People are on here and they don't know who Mr. Propa is, and we need to introduce them to him. So
there I am.
There you are, mate. So let's talk about the names, as I just mentioned it. Like, where does the business name Propa come from?
I actually have no idea. I was driving along one day. Literally, and I was like, you know, I'd been Joe Davis, I've been Joe Davis fitness coach, I've been Joe Davis PT, I'd been all these different things, and I was just like, I just want sort of a name that sums up what I do. And you know, I'd always sort of said to people in the gym, just as a off comment, I'd always been like, all right, yeah, that looks okay, but I'm going to teach you how to do a proper squat, or that looks all right, but I'm going to teach you how to do a proper bench or a proper swing, and then it just came to me. I was just driving along one day and I was like, I just want one word for a business. And because I was thinking of Nike and Virgin and all these big businesses that have just one name. And I was like thinking of all these words and nothing was coming. And I just said the word proper. And I was like, maybe that would be it. And I was like, yeah, because, you know, I'm always like, let's do it proper. Let's do it properly. Let's do it properly. And I was like, the Propa Fitness Academy. And then it just stuck and it just went from there, basically. And that was literally a week before I moved to Perth. And that's when I set up the online training academy, I call it, like, because it's just more of like an education process, and that's essentially where it came from. And then the hashtag is obviously like, do it proper, let's do it properly, let's fix the injury. And that's where I said I want that sort of one-stop shop to come in, where I'm doing treatments and training and nutrition consults, and it's like, let's look after the whole person, not just one aspect of it.
Yeah, nice, man, nice. And I think that's a good name as well, because you're definitely on the evidence-based side. And like, it just like proper, like the proper way to do things, like, no bullshit. I'll teach you the proper way to do things. What's good, what's not, like, educate people on the proper way to do it. And I think that's bang on, mate, for you being so evidence-based as well, which leads me into the next question. You've got a very famous, one of my favorite video series on Instagram. Let's talk about that.
Is this the what in the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, fire away. Ask me what you want.
So it's called What in the Fucking Fuck, right?
Yeah.
Or what the fuck, basically, right? And it's basically you just spelling a load of myths in a really funny way. So like the ones that stick out of my head, you've got like the little like horse riding thing. It was like a little seat that rocked back and forth. It was meant to jiggle away the fat. You probably had shake weights and different things on there. Like, it's a really funny series. I'm pretty sure I've sent it to people as well, being like, look at this guy. This is hilarious. So what made you want to do that? What made, like, it's a different way to approach educating people that these things don't work, but because it's funny, right? But it gets people engaged, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's clearly a scam, because they realize after. But what made you want to do that?
Well, it's funny. It's amazing how when I create one of those videos, it's amazing how many people tell me, fuck, I've got one of those at home. Or my partner bought one of those. Thanks for this. I think my partner had a sponsored ad come up, and it was the first one I ever made. I was literally in the car, and it was a woman with like a fat cell destroyer chin strap.
Yep.
And I think, I don't know, it's just like infrared LED lights or something on the chin. And, you know, there might be some there might be somewhere some literature that supports this. I don't really look into it, but I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, here's another thing. She's like, what is this? So she sent it to me, and I was like, and I needed a post that day, so I just put the thing on Instagram, and they just released that green screen thing where you can put the image behind you, and I was just like, what do I say to this? How am I going to write a post to this? So I put that green screen up, and I was just like, it just came off the tip of my tongue. What this week on What in the Fucking Fuck, we've got this thing. Look at her trying to melt the fat off of her chin or whatever. And then I just posted it, and it went fucking nuts. Everyone was like, this is the best. I love this. And that's how it became a series, because it was just like my most shared, commented on, liked post that I'd done in months. And I was like, wow, that really went off. So then I just started trying to do it every Friday. It was like, What in the Fuck Fridays. And I get messages of people. Even my partner got a message off someone that she knows recently saying, when's Joe doing another What in the Fuck? He hasn't done one in ages. And I'm like, how are people like loving this? I thought it was just like a random video I was going to make once. So then I started just trying to find all these weird gadgets. So I just like, you know, my Google search list is weird now, because I'm like, crazy fitness gadgets from China, or like crazy weird fitness gadgets that have been released. Yeah. And then I'll just go down these rabbit holes on YouTube, and I'm like, fuck, this is getting weird. Like, so then there's this guy rocking around on the horse, like it's like a horse riding chair. You know, I literally can't even remember what they are now, but then it just took off, and everyone's like, these are the best, you have to keep making these. So it just carried on like that.
Nice, man. And like I said, it was very entertaining. It was like, I think, because I don't put the volume on for videos a lot. Like, even though I post videos a lot, I normally just scroll past it if somebody's doing that. I was like, what's this guy talking about? And I turned the volume on once, and it was like, oh, what? This is actually quite funny.
And the one with the jaw size, that ball that the guy's chewing on. And I'm just like, what are these people doing? Like, this is mental. All these things that come out. And this is the problem with a part of the industry, is that there is so much misinformation. Like, we're in the age of information. We're also in the age of misinformation. And I think it's really, obviously, well, to me and you, these things obviously are just ridiculous. Like, no one's going to buy a ball and chew on it for 10 minutes a day for the next 3 months. Like, who's doing this at home? Maybe there are people doing it, but I think the reason it's taken off is because people are so sick of being duped by bullshit. And, you know, even though these things are the extreme, I've had messages from people saying, like, you should do one on supplements, you should do one on companies that scam people and all this stuff. But, you know, I've kept it quite kind of lighthearted and funny, but there is so much bullshit out there. And I've even gone down paths where I think I'm learning really good information that I've realized now, because, you know, I'm way more evidence-based now than I was 4 or 5 years ago. I think it's just part of your evolution as a trainer. You have to keep evolving and learning. And I'm starting to, like, every year I'm in this industry, I cringe at the previous year's version of myself. And it's because I'm constantly trying to learn and evolve. But, you know, I've gone down routes where I'm like, you know, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it now, but I've sat people down and I'm like, I think the reason you can't lose weight is because of your cortisol. And, you know, I'm sitting there going, this is the reason. It's because there's too much cortisol in your system. And I'm not saying that can't have a role, but I wasn't even talking about energy balance at the time. So I wasn't even looking at the base of the pyramid. I'm like going into the way top, like, before even addressing energy balance, how much are you eating, how much are you moving, are you even sleeping much, you know, all these things. I'm trying to, like, diagnose cortisol by the inches of stomach fat that they're storing. And it's just like, you know, like, because I was listening to lots of different information and podcasts and listening to these gurus that come out with all this stuff. So I think that's part of why that series is taken off, is because people are so frustrated with being duped. And it's great now that there is this whole wave of evidence-based people coming out, and they're, you know, it's not just old guys that are scientists. It's like young, cool people, you know, they got massive followings on social media, and there's people that other people can relate to. So they get these big followings, and they're also evidence-based, and they're teaching the right information, which is great. But, you know, there's still a plethora of misinformation out there. So I think that's why that series has taken off so well, because people are like, yeah, we're actually sick of it. We're actually sick of the latest weight loss gimmick, the latest gadget. You know, I even say to some of my clients, they're like, so what do I need to do? What exercises do I need to do to lose weight? I'm like, you actually don't even need to exercise. Just control your calorie intake and go for a walk every day. Let's start there. If you don't want to exercise, you don't even have to. If your goal is simply to lose weight, you don't even have to train. I recommend that you do lift weights, but you know, there's all this stuff out there that's like, you know, our sessions burn over 1,200 calories in 60 minutes, and it's just, you know, all this crazy stuff. It's like, you don't even need to be smashing yourself that hard if most people just want to lose weight. And I think people are becoming more and more aware of like, there's just so much information out there that is unnecessary for what most people want to achieve. And people are sick of it. So yeah, the What in the Fuck series has just landed with people in the right spot, and it's just going off.
Yeah, nice, mate, nice. And like, it goes to show you that just like something you just literally, people think about content for hours for the fitness industry, and they're worried about, oh, what happens if Joe sees a post that I put out and it's not right, like what's going to happen? You literally just seen something that was a funny ad and you're like, I haven't posted anything yet, let me take the piss out of this, and it turned into your most popular thing probably to date, right? Because it's funny and it's informative as well. So exactly. It just goes to show you to not overthink these things and just do things with your own way of doing things. Like, that's who you are in that. Like, it's part of your humor. Obviously, you're not putting anything on, and it's just authentic. So it's funny and it's authentic. So, but let's talk about something you said there was about you weren't thinking about the base of the pyramid, obviously, was your energy balance. So let's talk about that, because some people might be like, what does he mean? Like, what pyramid? What are we talking about? So cortisol was obviously at the top. You're like, this is the sort of things we probably might have to consider at some stage, but it's way up the pecking order. So if we're talking about energy balance being at the bottom, what's the next stages up that we probably need to address when we're looking at losing weight or fat?
So yeah, energy balance, calories, you know, that's the biggest chunk. And it's not even like it's an evenly split pyramid. I'm talking like it's the massive brick at the bottom, and then the smaller little bricks that sort of come on top. There, you know, you want to then obviously address your macros. You know, protein probably being the most important, carbs, fats, sort of in ascending order. Then obviously you can get into your sleep, and then the minutiae above that, like your supplements and timings, meal timings, nutrient timings, all those sorts of things. But really, if we're looking at, well, body composition or weight loss, you know, or muscle growth, it's the bulk of it is that massive chunk at the bottom, which is just energy balance. And then you can obviously refine it with the macros, refine the outcome, I guess, in terms of, you know, you see the bodybuilders, they got the higher carb intake, minimal fat, you know, adequate protein, things like that. You can start shaping yourself a bit better with those sort of macro splits. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's like, if you imagine a pyramid's there, what's the most important thing is it's the foundation brick. If you're looking at weight loss, that's the one, energy balance. Start there and then worry about all the other stuff. Some of my clients, I don't even get them, you know, if they're really, really new to nutrition and they've just had this wild, crazy diet of fast food and just crazy, you know, unorganized Western sort of diet, then I don't even get them looking at protein for the start. It's just like, let's just literally hit this number of calories, and that's where we're going to start. And then we can start worrying about all the other stuff after that. But like I said, a few years ago, I would have started, well, I've definitely diagnosed your cortisol by looking at your body fat. And I know I know that there's estrogen problems going on, and just all that. And it's like, why am I starting up here? Like, I don't even have a blood test to go off. I'm just sort of like, oh, someone told me that if I pinch your tricep, that there's going to be testosterone diagnosis. And so it's just like, this is, and you know, the level of results I was getting wasn't as great. So now I could tell someone, we're just going to get your energy balance right, and I could see them lose 15 kilos. Yeah. So it's and then I think, you know, the hormones and everything sort of help correct themselves from there. Once you've got someone eating right, sleeping well, exercising regularly, everything else sort of falls into place. You know, unless they need hormonal help with a doctor or something. But most of the time, 99% of the people I work with, it's just sort out their energy balance, get them exercising regularly, have enough protein, sleeping right, and then everything else falls into place.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people talk about like hormones and other aspects of like what is needed without, like, they think it's calories or hormones, when in reality everything your hormones do in your body create what we talk about in our calorie deficit. They create the energy you expend, they create everything else, they create the desire to eat. Everything is all influenced, like it all comes together. But at the end of the day, the thermodynamics can't be changed, like the law of thermodynamics, where you eat less and you burn off, you lose body fat. That's the key thing. And there may be elements that might, you know, make people hungrier, or might interact, like your steps and everything that comes into kind of hormonal balance and kind of output as well. But it still comes down to calories, and it's not one or the other. It's potentially both, but not to the extent that people really think about with hormones. It's like they play a part, but only within energy balance.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like I said before, with the information I was sort of, the path of information I was going down before, everything was hormone related. There was not one talk of maybe they're eating too much. It was like, no, it has to be estrogen dominance. And I was like, shit, this is really complicated stuff. And I'm not saying energy balance isn't complicated for people that haven't heard about it, but it's a lot easier for someone to address energy balance in their life than their estrogen dominance and their cortisol resistant and all these things that are just like, you know, we're personal trainers, we're not even educated in this stuff, but yet we feel like we have to learn it all because it's what was being, well, I did at the time, because it was what was being taught by people that I was following and stuff. So yeah, like I said, every year in this industry, I cringe at the previous year version of myself. So in 2022, I'll be looking back at the stuff I've done in 2021 going, fuck, why was I doing that? I'm an idiot. Like, I should have been doing more of this. And I think that's just part of growth. It's not a problem. It's just a part. If you are open to change, if you are always evolving and trying to become the best that you can be, you're always going to look back on, like, it's like if you look back at yourself when you were 18, you're like, fuck, why did I have that haircut? I thought that was awesome. Or why did I have that lip ring and those emo jeans and things? And it's just like if you're always going to grow and evolve, you're always going to look back and go, wow, I was way off base there. And I just think that's part of learning. And that's why, I'm doing this evidence-based nutrition course with Mac Nutrition Uni, who's Martin Nutrition on Instagram. I don't know if you know him. And I'm learning heaps, and it's fascinating because, like what you just said about the content where people overthink it and they second guess themselves. When you were saying that, I was thinking of me right now, because I'm learning so much more through my course. I have this sort of imposter syndrome kick in now more often when I'm creating content. And I'm like, fuck, like, it's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And so at the start, when you're just like a sort of novice, you're like super confident. I know it all. I know I've got all the answers. And then you start learning more, and you start realizing there's so much more to this that I don't actually know. And so you start doubting yourself more often. And it's just part of that learning process where you come out here at the start super confident, start learning more and more, realize there's so much more that you don't know. So your confidence drops a little bit in your own knowledge, and then you sort of come back out again once you've learned a bit more. And that's kind of where I'm at a little bit, where I'm sort of like at the bottom of that that's
all part of the evolving process, right? And you growing into this better trainer. But
exactly.
I mean, one thing you said there that I can't get out of my head is I'm picturing 18-year-old Joe with the hair and the emo ring and the lip ring and the emo jeans. You need to find a picture, like, because everyone on the audience is now going to want to know. So that's the thing. You've got the end of the month when this drops at the end of the month. You've got 3 weeks to find this picture, and it's going to be posted whenever this goes live.
Yeah, with the backcombed hair, you know.
Yeah, man. I think we all can look back on funny stuff from then, right? But mate, one thing I wanted to talk about, because you're Mr. Evidence-Based and we're talking about the What in the Fuck series, which people should go and check out because it's quite funny. But what's the sort of things? Let's talk about the biggest thing over the past, say, 10 years that is still kicking around that you wish would just fuck off and just die. Like the biggest thing that people believe, or the biggest gimmick you've seen. What would that be?
Oh, there's probably a few that have just come to my mind.
Go for it. I'll give you three. Let's go three things.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I still need to learn more about, which I've delved into, is the whole insulin hypothesis, where it's all carbs. Obesity is the result of insulin, and it's been debunked through the literature over and over now. And it's still something I'm still learning heaps about in my nutrition course. But that was something that I was riding the wave of for a long time. The same as fasted cardio. Like, if you do fasted cardio, it's gonna make you burn fat, but if you eat, insulin's released, and you're only gonna, and all that stuff. And so there's two: fasted cardio, insulin. Probably there's no point, or probably the whole protein argument, maybe, with there's more protein. You can get everything you need from plants, and I'm not saying these are myths, because you can get an abundance of protein from plants, but it's just like the reason we're eating meat is the efficiency and the bioavailability, and there's lots more to these things. So on the surface level, it sounds like a sound argument, but when you really dive into it and break these things down, and I know these aren't the funny ones that I'll do on What in the Fuck and stuff, but like actual things that we need to coach clients through on a regular basis. Because I still get people asking me, like, and I say still, but to the general public who aren't in the fitness industry, this is what is taught. Like, so if I'm trying to lose weight, can I eat bread, or can I have a potato then? And all these things, because they're assuming that carbs is going to block their fat loss, whether it's because of the insulin theory or what they've been taught throughout the years. It's more those things that I'm constantly running into these days, as in obstacles with clients. And I'm constantly trying to have to like coach people around it and be like, no, it's fine. Like, you can eat before training and it's not going to affect your rate of weight loss as long as you're in an energy deficit for the rest of the day. But people are still fixated on the idea that we have to train in the fasted state to optimize fat loss. And it's like, it's kind of been debunked now. So let's move past that. If you feel shit when you're training on an empty stomach, you don't have to persevere with that, because it's not going to interfere with your weight loss as long as you're in an energy deficit for the rest of the day. So it's more like those things that I'm running into on a regular basis now. And then obviously the What in the Fuck series is where I go, well, these things are really ridiculous. Let's take the absolute piss out of these.
Yeah. Okay, mate. And then what does Joe's training and diet look like? Because I know you posted about you're eating around the 4,000 calorie mark. How do you train? How do you eat? What's your goals right now? Just to sort of finish up on what it takes to maintain your size and everything else that I'm seeing on Instagram.
So right now, probably maintaining at 4,000 calories. I train. What do I train? Currently 4 to 5 times a week. I was really into my powerlifting up until recently, and now I'm sort of changing my direction a little bit in terms of what I want to do with my own training. But lots of low bar, squats, deadlifts, bench press as my main lifts. Everything else in my training had to support the development of those 3 compound lifts. And that's, I still do a lot of that with my clients, but I've sort of changed in the last year. I think, hitting 33, 34, your body starts to get a bit beaten up from all that heavy shit all the time. So I'm just sort of in a transitional phase at the moment, I guess, where I'm sort of doing a bit more bodybuilding style training, but still doing those lifts, but not so much focus on my training. I think it's quite taxing when you're focusing that much on improving your lifts and things. There's so much around it that has to come into play in terms of, meal prep, calories, sleep, recovery, all that stuff. Right now, my focus is more around what I want to do with my business and helping my clients. So I've sort of got less of a focus on my training at the moment. So I'm kind of training pretty casually at the moment, 4 to 5 times a week, upper lower splits, maybe a bit of arms and calves and things on the side. And then, 6 meals a day, around 4,000 calories. And that's just kind of where I hover at about 117. But when I started lifting weights, I was 90 kilos. So I've gotten up to 122, probably at my heaviest, when I was feeling a bit chubby at that weight. I hover around 117. I feel comfortable. So that's kind of where I am now. Yeah, just maintaining that and just working on getting a bit stronger, becoming a better trainer, becoming a better nutrition student, and working on developing my business, my online business as well.
Nice, man. Nice. And then what is the business goals moving forward then, Joe?
Take over the world. No.
I like it. I like it.
No, I really want to be focusing more on sort of workshops and
Nice.
get a bit more into the group teaching. I've had a couple of PTs lately reach out for a bit of mentoring, so maybe help other PTs build a bit of an online presence and grow their business. But yeah, I want to really develop the online academy to make it something awesome. I've got all these ideas. It's just getting the time now. The beauty of when I moved from Melbourne to Perth is I had no clients in the gym for a month or so. So I had all this time. I had a month, and I was like, I had this idea that I wanted an online training business for so long, and then I had this gap in time where I had 0 clients, and I had space to think and build. So I used that time, that first 2 months, to just get everything up and running. And then I got busy in the gym. And now it's like, I want to take it to this next level. I've got all these ideas where it becomes more of like an educational academy. People can come in and learn about nutrition and recovery and all the things that I kind of know about. But yeah, it's just now finding the time because I'm so busy in the gym and so busy with online clients and things. I'm just sort of waiting for that Christmas break. When I take a few weeks off over Christmas, that's when I'll develop it a bit further and just keep building that online academy, because I just want to keep reaching more and more people. You know, I've got clients from probably, I think, 11 different countries I've had now. So just keep growing that, spreading the web out and helping more people from around the world, and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, nice, man. Nice. And how do people get in touch with you then if they're interested in either mentoring, like you said, people are reaching out, or the actual online academy, or PT if they're based in Perth and they're like, listen, I like this guy, he sounds like he's up my street, let's go for a session with him?
They can just send me a message on Instagram. So that's at propa.Joe Davis, which is my name, or propafitnessacademy.com. Just head there and get in touch, or swing by Revo Fitness in Myrie. That's the gym I work out of. Nice,
mate. Nice. Perfect. So, mate, thank you for your time. I'm not sure how long we've actually been on, but it's an informative episode. It highlights one of Perth's, in my opinion, one of Perth's best trainers. So, I mean, I thank you for your time, and hopefully people will reach out. Guys, if you did, tag us both, let us know you've enjoyed this one, because this is something I do want to do to bring people on, to let them see people they might not have seen, or hear more about people who may have really good stories to tell, like yours today, mate. So thank you for your time, and good luck with everything moving forward.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for this. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, mate. Have a good day.
See ya.
Thanks for joining me on today's episode of The O Show. If you know somebody who needs to hear this episode today, please share this with them via message or on social media. Don't forget to also take a screenshot and share it on your story and tag me at Oren McCarry, so we can continue to grow the podcast and help more people change their lives with the advice given here. Also, keep the 5-star reviews coming over on iTunes, as that helps people who normally wouldn't listen to the show find it and get The O Show in their ears and drive the podcast forward to help more people around the world with the advice here. Have a great day, and I will speak to you soon.